Back to follow-up segment tonight. There is big worry among the leadership of the Democratic Party that their primary presidential candidate, Hillary Clinton, will be embarrassed and perhaps indicted over the ongoing email investigation. Factor will not try this case on television, but scores of FBI agents are now involved. That means it's serious. Joining us from Boynton Beach, Florida, Ron Kessler, author of the book, The First Family Detail About the Secret Service. So I understand, Ms. Kessler, you've spoken to several former Justice Department officials. What are they telling you?
Well, I say that as much as the case can be open and shut, this is an open and shut case, because the relevant law, Section 793 of the U.S. Criminal Code, simply says handling classified information with gross negligence is a felony. And by definition, if you put classified on an unsecured server, that is gross negligence.
But that would
you
be
don't have to
argued.
show criminal intent.
Okay, but that would be argued obviously by Mrs. Clinton's lawyers, and she herself says, listen, I didn't know anything was classified. It didn't come in that way, and I was just conducting business as usual. But here's the bottom line on it. This is a partisan issue. You would agree with that, right? Democrats, they don't want her to get indicted. They don't care what she did, generally speaking, all right? And Republicans want the FBI to go in and kick her door and take her out with cuffs. So it's a partisan issue. But what I'm trying to get at here is when you assign this number of FBI agents, all right, that itself sends a signal, does it not?
Sure, and there's no question that there would have already been a grand jury impaneled, because they have to obtain documents with subpoenas and get testimony from people like her underlings. So definitely a grand jury is in the works. And, you know, if you look at Watergate, that was also a partisan issue, but the FBI conducted itself professionally, resisted efforts by an even more powerful figure, President Nixon, to suppress that investigation. And sure enough, that investigation
but the difference in Watergate is that you had a press driving the information flow to the public. Don't have that here. The liberal press largely doesn't care about the email situation. The New York Times endorsed Hillary Clinton for president just this week. Okay, they don't have any qualms about it. So you don't have that Watergate pressure coming from the press that every day is another revelation. Director Comey is an interesting guy. I myself, and I could be wrong, do not believe that this man is going to succumb to pressure from anybody, including Barack Obama. Do you know anything about him?
Well, he has an impeccable reputation for integrity. He's the guy who threatened to resign over a legal issue involving the Bush administration. And he's also a former prosecutor, so he knows exactly what's needed. And I believe that he never would have authorized this investigation in the first place if he didn't already believe that the FBI had evidence to indicate that she should be indicted.
All right, but that's speculation now, Mr. Kessler. That's your speculation. I'm trying to get at this. There are a lot of people who say, no way Hillary Clinton's going to be indicted. The fix is in. It's like the IRS scandal. Comey's not going to do it. But I say to them, listen, Comey can't indict. He doesn't have that power. But he can certainly go on the O'Reilly factor and say, you know what? This is what we found out, and this is what's troubling. And I think Comey would do that.
Sure. Yeah, these people are not going to ruin their reputations. The same with Loretta Lynn. She's not going to ruin her reputation for life by refusing to go along with an indictment. And on the material, you know, when you're talking about top secret, beyond top secret, that's, for example, CIA breaking into an embassy overseas to get the codes, developing an asset in the inner circle of foreign leaders, intercepting a terrorist conversation. It's very obvious on its face that it's classified. And prosecutors who prosecuted this case have told me that the only issue is, in a trial, whether the government can present witnesses that demonstrate that these documents are properly classified. And of course, I think it's going to be very easy. Hillary Clinton has put out all these smoke screens about it, claiming that it had to be stamped. No, it didn't have to be stamped.
No, all right, but again, I don't want to try the case here. Mrs. Clinton's going to have her high-priced lawyers and her defense, and we'll see what the FBI comes up with. Mr. Kessler, thanks very much. We appreciate it. Directly ahead, Ed Henry, covering the Clinton campaign. How worried are they about the FBI? Also, civil war may be breaking out in Sweden between migrants and nativist gangs. Could this happen in America? Up ahead. Campaign 2016 segment tonight, Hillary Clinton campaigning in New Hampshire, state that polling says is favoring Bernie Sanders. Joining us now from the Granite State, Ed Henry. So you just heard my interview with Kessler. The Clinton campaign, are they whispering about this behind the scenes, the FBI?
Yes. Yes, big time. For the record and in public, they're brushing this off, not a big deal, nothing new here. But I've talked to some advisors outside the campaign who say last Friday was a critical day in all of this, in this story, but specifically the FBI investigation. What happened Friday? We learned that there were 22 top secret emails. That is serious information, not some of the lower level classified information, also serious, but this is more serious. And what I'm told specifically is that inside the campaign, the Brooklyn headquarters and elsewhere, there was a full freak out because this raised the bar big time, number one. And number two, it was confirmed not by Republicans, but by the State Department, the Obama State Department. And Bill, that's what's changing this equation. And what I'm told is concerning them more and more, which is you have the State Department saying there's trouble. And then you also have the FBI out there, as you were just talking with Mr. Kessler. Nobody knows really what they're doing. And it's still twisting out there. And they are nonpartisan. It's not something Hillary Clinton can attack if they move forward with some kind of charges.
Okay, when you say a full-time freak out, what does that mean? Are they bashing their heads against the wall? Are they tumbling out of windows? What are they doing?
No, I heard of one specific incident where one of their senior staffers was, on a phone call saying that this is disastrous, happening on the Friday before the Iowa caucuses. They were specifically, worried about that. Now, this hasn't been much of an issue in the Democratic side of the campaign, as you know, because Bernie Sanders has sort of taken it off the table and tried to focus on the economy. But they were worried that the timing was going to change.
Yeah, but the press didn't pick it up the way it should have. It's a Friday night play. They always do that.
Yep.
And the Clinton-Sanders Iowa thing was a tie. All right,
but something did happen, Bill, which is on Sunday, Hillary Clinton went on ABC and compared this email deal to Benghazi. That was significant and feeds into what I'm reporting because they were concerned enough to then say this email thing is Benghazi, meaning Republicans are attacking me for nothing,
for partisan
purposes. And that does not add up because it's the FBI. You can attack Trey Gowdy on Benghazi and say it's the Republicans. This is a different deal, and this is why I think they're most worried. If the FBI moves forward with something, it's awfully hard to attack a nonpartisan law enforcement agency, number one. And number two, by the way, the FBI reports to the Obama Justice Department. So it's a lot harder to say this is Trey Gowdy or Fox News or anybody else.
Well, if the FBI comes forth with damning information, and even if she's not indicted, I think that's the end of her. Now, in New Hampshire, Bernie Sanders is way ahead, right? Is there any chance that Hillary Clinton could upset Bernie in 6 days?
Yes, and here's why. He's sitting on a big lead. Hillary Clinton at one point so in our latest poll, Bernie Sanders was leading about 10 days or so ago by 22 points. Remember, Hillary Clinton a few months ago was leading Iowa by 41, 50 points. That came down big time. She won, but it was awfully tight. So if Hillary Clinton pours it on here, brings in the money, brings in the ground game, can she win? I still think Bernie Sanders has the edge. Let's not forget he's from a neighboring state of Vermont. But can she close? Yes. She did that to Barack Obama, remember, 8 years ago. She lost Iowa, came in not second, but third, and then stormed back and won New Hampshire. And that's what Bill Clinton did in 92. So that's another factor, I think. The Clintons and the whole comeback kid thing, we're going to find out whether is it a third time of that, or have people moved on from the Clintons here in New Hampshire the way Jeb Bush is seeing that the Bush family's having trouble. The Clintons have done very well here in New Hampshire. It's good turf for them. So she's down now, but she's not out.
All right, and she's campaigning heavily in New Hampshire. She's going to be you'll be following her around for the next 6 days, right?
Yeah, I'm running out of pocket hankies. That's how serious this is.
We've taken up a collection, Henry, and so we will be FedExing. But I don't know if they're up to your quality, these hankies, but you'll see. There he is, everyone, up in a New Hampshire precincts. Plenty more ahead as the Factor moves along this evening. President Obama going to a mosque, but why? Is that an anti-Trump play? Then later, violence breaking out in Sweden, a very benevolent country, over the influx of migrants from the Middle East. We hope you stay tuned for those reports.